Welcome to ONNpoint. I'm Tim Murphy, and joining me today is Shelayne from Anipeg Tattoo. Hello, Shelayne.
Hello, Tim. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad you joined me now. So I don't know much about tattoos, which is exactly why I brought you in here. Shelayne is the owner, operator, and the artist.
Yes.
For Anipeg Tattoo, located on Queen Street. I was just saying you moved about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago.
So your location now, how would you best describe it where you are now?
Airy with privacy.
There you go. And you're on Queen Street just beyond Elgin?
We're just between Elgin and Bruce Street. We are directly beside Planetary Pride and across from Fabricland.
Right, okay.
And for those of us in my generation, across from the old Wilco.
The old Wilco, which is now Sue Blasters.
Yes.
Yes. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about where you came from. So born in Toronto, moved to Bruce Mines.
Bruce Mines.
Come on.
At the age of 5.
At 5.
And grew up on a farm. So
Do you remember enough about Toronto that it was like culture shock going from Toronto to Bruce Mines?
No,
eh?
I don't really remember much.
Okay.
My mother is a city girl. She loved that, but she was kind enough to bring us here to be in nature.
So did you grow up on a farm in Bruce Mines?
I did grow up on a farm. My grandparents were dairy farmers, and we had a farm as well.
Nice.
Yes.
And then what? Did you high school in the Soo, or did you go to Cass?
I did go to Cass. It was quite the experience. I was a bit of a troubled youth.
Were you?
And a lot of people can attest to that I disappeared quite often.
Okay.
And I do pity the city police for having to look for me all the time in the OPP.
You were a bit of a wanderer.
I was a wanderer. I needed to explore and be out.
You were a bit of a rebel.
I was.
Well, okay.
And I still am.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being a rebel. You're a rebel with a cause now.
Yes, I am.
See, okay.
So I started tattooing by chance. I had been tattooed in terrible circumstances.
Oh, really? Do you want to share a little bit about that, or can you? You don't want to.
I can share a little bit.
Okay.
I was tattooed underage at a house party, so been there, done that.
Oh boy, okay, so that's not good.
It was under the worst circumstances possible.
Wow.
And when I started pursuing cover-ups for my tattoos, I couldn't find anybody sober to do it.
Whoa.
So at that time, we didn't really have anybody. We did have Big Dave.
Okay.
Rest in peace. We lost him April 11th.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. But I was underage at the time, and he said no, which it was the right thing to do.
Big Dave said no.
Yep.
He was an above-the-board kind of guy.
He was, absolutely. So when I started pursuing cover-ups, I couldn't find anybody. So with a lot of encouragement, I gave it a try with a lot of research that I could do, and at the time there wasn't any. I was reading Easy Rider magazines, articles on Jack Rudy and Brian Everett, and those people became my mentors.
Wow, so you basically self-educated, self-taught.
Yes.
So did you do your own cover-up tattoo then on that?
I ended up doing
my
my own cover-ups, and then I ended up meeting other artists as well that helped me out. So, and when I started tattooing, I wasn't tattooing above board. I was tattooing in my house.
Okay.
But thank you, Kara Flanagan, for being a guiding light for this, because working with Algoma Public Health.
Isn't she great?
She's amazing.
I know.
And she's such a smart woman. And she was gracious enough to help me with the information, the statistics. And her and I worked together to help write what people are reading now.
No kidding.
I was
about safety and
safety. I mean, we didn't have
sort of a manual.
Well, sort of guidelines.
Guidelines.
We didn't have anything locally to tell us, and at that time when I first started, we couldn't even so much as buy a Sharps container.
Oh my gosh!
This wasn't available.
So
now you can Google anything and buy it online.
How long ago are you talking now?
I'm talking 27 years ago.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
You said, Tim, I'm going to do my best not to curse, and I almost just cursed before you did. Are you kidding me? I had no idea we were going back that.
Yes.
Kara's been a public health nurse for 27 years. Oh, she's environmental.
Yes, environmental. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you own a business at that time, or
No, I was tattooing out of my house.
Out of your house.
So what we ended up doing was having Kara work with us to find an area within my house that I could do this. My son was very small at the time.
Okay.
There wasn't any education on tattooing. There was no suppliers available. There was one gentleman in Toronto that was helping me out quite a bit, Gary Chin, and he was working with me on supplies. But I had to learn everything to how to make my own machines, which I can still do, how to build my own needles. I do all that stuff.
Come on.
And when I have an apprentice in, they get to learn all that stuff. So we go back to the absolute basics. But thank goodness the health and safety has come up since then.
We're going to talk more about that
yes,
when we come
absolutely.
back. I want to hear more about, before we get to the health and safety aspect, I'd like to hear more about So Shelayne, I want to hear about how you went from working with Cara Flanagan and getting a place in your home that was approved to run your tattoo service out of, actually to a storefront location. That must have been, were you excited? Was there trepidation? Were you nervous?
A lot of trepidation. It was quite the journey. When we started in my home, I had no intentions on tattooing everybody. That was not my intention. It was for myself, for my husband. Oh. And I had a lot of feedback, and I had more and more people asking. And the first tattoo I did ever, it was like somebody flipped a switch. There was no looking back. So for me, that was, it was like a revelation of sorts, as strange as it sounds.
Was it a family member or a friend that put that first tattoo on?
No, it was on myself.
You did your first tattoo on yourself, and then you were like,
this is it. There's no going back. This is what I'm doing. So
it ignited a passion.
It did. It did. And I mean, I was fortunate enough to grow up with art supplies at the ready anytime I wanted. So I wasn't afraid of the artistic aspect, but I was afraid of the knowledge that I didn't have, and I didn't want to hurt anybody. So I did end up, once we worked with Cara, I had a neighbor who was rather noisy above my house. Once she was gone, we rented the upper apartment. We turned it into a small studio.
Okay.
So from that, I knew I needed more space and air conditioning at best, because it was pretty warm.
And when someone's getting that done, I'm sure it might want to cause you to sweat when you're getting the needle.
And pass out if you're too hot.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we ended up basically putting the word out, and all my clients filled a pickle jar so that I could literally open my own place, and we had a small space on Wilson Street.
What a great story.
Oh, I have the best clients ever, bar none.
When you opened the first above your apartment, in your house rather, whatever, was it called Anipeg then?
It was, I actually at one point had it termed the Underground Tattoo, and then I called it the Anipeg Place.
Okay.
For a little bit, and then we just switched off to Anipeg Tattoo.
What's the history of the name, Anipeg?
Oh dear.
Is that
okay.
What? Okay.
So drinking one night with the girls. Sorry guys. Drinking one night with the girls, and this is back where we were all into like having posters of wizards and dragons and you know those unicorns with wings. And the question was posed, what is that thing? And one of the girls says, it's an Anipeg. So Anipeg is my tribute to all the women who did not want to grow up. To all of us rebels. Yes.
I love it.
So that's where the name originated.
All right.
So it's just a tribute to
So then you went to Wilson Street?
I was on Wilson Street. We were there, and my landlord was fantastic. I got to listen to cars revving all day, and I'm a car junkie, so I was lucky with that. So we had that little place for about 6-7 years, and since then we've been through, I'm on my 4th location. Okay. So we did expand, we got bigger, and then we decided that maybe as I was getting a little older, we would downsize. And I'm not ready to quit anytime soon.
Good for you.
So
have other people tattooed you? You have ink?
I have a friend across the river at Solomon's.
Yes.
He did this arm. We are not done yet. He can give me a call anytime.
Are you going to do a full sleeve?
It's going to be finished, yes.
Yeah.
And I've had the fellow who works with me, Corey McDonald, also tattoo me. Okay. And I haven't had Kat Foisey tattoo me yet. She's also working at my studio. She's new to us, and we love having her. Oh, cool. My most recent tattoo is on my hand, and it was done by the famous Jack Rudy out of Anaheim, California. Now,
you mentioned him already because you said he was somebody that you all looked up to when you first talked about when you were doing your research, reading your books and your articles. You read about Jack, and then you got to meet him.
Yes, I met him in 1999 in Detroit as well. And these people were very gracious. I got to meet Jack, Brian Everett, Susan Fauser, Pat Sinatra, Vivian Lizonga wasn't there, but these are key names when I first started. Right. And there was very, very few women. like so few. So I mean, it was a real honor to meet everybody, but to follow the progress, like Jack and Brian have done a lot of interviews, so I would pick up anything I could from their interviews. So I mean, I don't think they intended on being my mentors, but they ended up being it anyway. So I was very fortunate enough to convince Jack to do a tattoo on me in the Toronto convention a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Graphic art.
I only went through 1 year of Sault College Fine Arts because I was, sorry guys, bored silly. And I found that it was discouraging me from doing a lot of drawing.
But you had, before you went to Sault College, you said you always had art supplies at the ready, so you were, you were a crafty kid.
Yes.
Were you always like to sketch and draw and color and stuff like that?
Anything that I could draw, paint,
I was never
cut,
open. I was never like that.
Yes.
No, I was always about performance, and my people in my family are very creative that way. With my uncle was an artist, and yeah, Bob Jenkins. He did all the art for when we had CJIC TV.
Oh, nice.
He did all of those boards that they would hold it, because back then, when you did an ad for something, you would just paint everything and lettering and stuff.
And that's lost. It's so lost.
It is, and he was a cartoonist as well. So.
Oh, wow.
He's still with us. He's in the Davie home now. He was a jazz musician as well and an artist. He got the both. He got the graphic arts, the ability to paint and draw, and he was musical as well.
And it's something that we're not seeing a whole lot of it. Everything is becoming very computerized. And even our artists, myself included, I'm trying very hard to learn how to adjust to the art styles and the tools available.
Right.
And it's a bit of a struggle. I always find myself going back to the paper and pencil. Yeah, it's just, you need to be artistic, you need to understand. And I'm fascinated with art history and the progress that was made. So anything that learns and takes us from nothing and follows the learning process up to being something incredible, that's so important. Okay,
when we come back, we're going to talk now about if I were to come into the studio, into Anipeg, what I could expect as a client, talking me through the process of getting ready to have a tattoo and getting a tattoo, and then we're going to finish off with the segment on the health and safety aspects, because that is critical.
Very critical.
So stay with us. We have more coming up with Shelayne from Anipeg Tattoo. We'll be right back after this brief message. We're back on point with Shelayne from Anipeg Tattoo. Now, I'm walking into your store, and I may not have an idea in my mind yet. I know I want a tattoo, but I'm not sure what I want it of. You have some designs that are there. People could go through some books and get some ideas. Is that correct?
We have design books that are available for people to get a starting point. We have a lot of tattoo flash. The majority of it is now put away because we are focusing on custom designs.
Custom design is
more. But we definitely do have stuff that people can start on. They can also seek designs online. However, we encourage people not to steal anyone's designs or tattoos.
Okay.
Reference is great, but outright stealing is not.
Okay. Yeah. So, do I make an appointment to come in and sit down and talk to you before anything else?
I think a lot of times, if you just want to feel out a place, you just walk in and talk to them.
I can just walk into your store and say, I'm thinking about blah.
Yeah. And I mean, what we like to do is ask, how long have you been thinking about it? What led to this? And is there a story behind it? Because if it's an emotional journey for you, we want to make sure that we give it the right look.
Do it justice.
Yes.
Because you're going to be looking at that forever.
Forever. We don't want you coming in on a knee-jerk reaction of suddenly I met somebody and I'm in love and I want their name. Please don't do it.
Let's talk a little bit about why not to get a tattoo.
Oh, yes.
So that is a relationship that may not be permanent, is not a great idea, because then you end up like, people who have to get their names taken off their body parts.
We offer a 4 to 6 week guarantee that if you get your partner's name, you will have problems. Yes. Really? We've had people after 20 years of marriage say, oh, it's okay, and convince me. Come back in 8 weeks later and say, he left me.
Oh.
So we don't want to do that, because when you take somebody else's name, despite how they feel, because it has happened to me, when you do that, you end up with this sense of ownership, and you own your name, and when somebody else takes it, it leaves you with that. Yeah, they've just taken a little bit of you and they own it now.
Interesting.
It affects everybody differently.
Well, also, not a good. You can't get tattooed when you're under the influence. Is that right?
Absolutely not.
Is that against the law, or is that just a thing?
It's ethics.
It's ethics.
It is ethics. I mean, and when you're doing something that you need somebody's consent. So if they are intoxicated, they are not able, we know this, we are not able to give consent if we're intoxicated.
We know this in many other aspects of our lives too, of what consent means.
Yes.
So,
and if somebody also passes out during the procedure, and it can happen. I mean, we have some medical conditions, we have overheating, we have anxiety. If they pass out, we must stop what we're doing.
Okay.
Because, and again, it's without their consent.
I see. So, the moment they are no longer able to consent or say stop or go,
we have to stop.
You have to stop.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other conditions that you would say you have to be aware of when you're going in to get a tattoo? Medical conditions?
We want to make sure your mental state is okay. We want to make sure you're physically able to heal. We have a lot of diabetics we work with. Most of them are fine, as long as they're well managed. But there are some conditions. I mean, we do have cancer patients and things like that we do ask them to check with their doctors. We have people with autoimmune deficiencies, and we ask again, just make sure, depending how severe they are, that they check with their physician and make sure it's okay for them.
Right.
Because when they're getting it done, wow, I mean, some people get a rush of either they're anxious or something can go wrong.
And some people can just sit there and watch the whole thing.
Oh, we have some people who sleep.
Sleep through a tattoo?
Oh, listen, I've had moms wake up with drool down the side of their face when they're laying on the chair. Because quite frankly, it's all about them. They can have a nap, I don't mind. And some people are just so tired and it lulls them to sleep. Other people, not so much.
Is there a most painful place on your body to get a tattoo from what you've heard?
Well, I imagine there aren't. I don't personally do those things.
Okay.
But kneecaps, elbows hurt quite a bit. Armpits hurt.
Where there's no, like a lack of flesh and fat.
Yes. So if we tattoo your weenus, it hurts.
This is your weenus. She's not making up a cute name for other parts.
It is actually your weenus.
Have you ever tattooed anybody's body part, like genitalia?
No.
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 Butt? Have you done a butt?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My goodness, yes.
Yeah.
I've replaced nipples and things like that.
Replaced them?
Well, you know, girl's got to look right in the mirror. If something's missing to her.
You can get a nipple tattoo?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Wow, okay. So, and I love I don't know, Manish and Mike in the control room, is there any way that if I get Shelayne to look at me, you can see the in and out on her neck? So if you look at me, I love this. On one side of her head, right behind her ear, it says in. Can you get that? There you go. And then on the other side, it says out. So it's in one ear and out the other. Not like we didn't warn you, right? I find that tickles my fancy. I just think that's brilliant.
Well, when I was a kid, that's where everything used to go, in one ear and out the other. So, yes.
All right, so now when we come back, we're going to take another break. When we come back, let's talk about the safety issues, because I know that's extremely important to you.
Yes.
So, and it's a weighty subject.
Yes,
so we're going to be right back with Shelayne from Anipeg Tattoo to talk about the ins and outs of safety in the tattoo industry. Stay with us on Point. So Shelayne from Anipeg Tattoo, you are a licensed, you have been cleared by public health.
Absolutely.
And so, but you're saying that in this community, there are issues right now with health and safety when it comes to the tattoo business. What's going on?
We have a lot of home tattooers, and I have been there, done it, I understand. But please work with your health unit. They're there to help, to educate, not to hinder anything. Their prerogative is public health, public safety. We have issues with people who are being chipping on their gloves, who I'm seeing videos of people wiping fresh tattoos with bare hands. So if anybody hasn't heard about what MRSA is, a methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, easily contracted, easily spread. So when you're going to your tattoo artist, what we ask is that you check to make sure that it looks like Dexter's going in there to perform something.
All right.
We want things covered in plastic, everything from their clip cords, their machines, their bottles, and at no point should a tattoo artist ever be touching your skin without gloves on. And if they stop to pick anything up, they need to change their gloves. They should not be on their cell phone. They should not be answering the phone. Anytime this happens, they need to take off their gloves, change. These are simple things, but we're not seeing the requirements locally for bloodborne pathogens courses. I really strongly encourage everybody in the industry to take one, because we learn how it works in our industry to make sure we're keeping everybody safe, ourselves included, because we don't know the clients coming in personally. We can ask them questions, but we don't know if they have something contagious. So it's about protecting ourselves and our clients. We should not be touching anything barehanded, ever. That means our setups, our teardowns, anything we do. We should be showing clients everything in our packages, and even if somebody does do that, it doesn't mean that it's a healthy environment. You need to understand that we keep records. We have to provide lot numbers and everything if we are asked. The public health has access to our records, so we want to encourage people to just be aware that this is your health, and we're responsible to provide a healthy service, and if we're not doing that, we're doing an injustice.
The training for bloodborne pathogens.
Yes.
Available where?
You can take a course online, but I really strongly encourage artists to hit conventions and take things like Lexi Johnson teaches one designed by David Vidra, and they're through health educators. We go in and we sit down for 4 hours.
You do?
And we discuss everything that's happening in our industry, how to make sure we're keeping our clients safe, how we're not spreading diseases, how we're autoclaving. They exist. Most people don't have them anymore. We're still running autoclaves to make sure.
What's autoclaving?
An autoclave is a steam sterilizer. It uses steam under pressure.
Oh.
Okay.
I saw them at Public Health. They have them there.
Right? And Public Health brings new inspectors in to see ours because we seem to be the only ones running them in Algoma.
Oh.
So that's if you're going to be reusing equipment, and for piercing we have to reuse some clamps. We also are able to autoclave our work bottles that we were using on clients.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we're monitored, and those are tested every 2 weeks to make sure they're functioning properly. We do spore tests. We have to keep very strict records. We're just very much into encouraging taking these courses so that people understand how to be safe. Because this industry, we've been through so much, and we're hitting such a peak right now that the media has jumped on us, and we're seeing shows, we're seeing so much, and we're bombarded with the prettiness of it, but we're not seeing the dirt behind it, and we need to do that. We need to understand how to be safe about it. So take a bloodborne pathogens course if you're a tattoo artist. You need it. You will be needing it. Things are going to change, and I'm pushing for it.
Well, good for you. You're an advocate.
Absolutely.
And so what are your hours of operation, just so I know, in case I decide that I want to get some ink, you know what I'm saying?
Anipeg Tattoo is open Tuesday through Saturday from 12 till 7 p.m. We have limited hours. We do not do like the Walmart thing. We don't do sales. Tattoos are not like t-shirts. Please do not get one on sale. And
I don't think I've ever heard of it, a tattoo
And getting
sale.
a cheap tattoo is like using a cheap condom. You're taking risks.
See?
Yes,
don't
absolutely.
cheap out on condoms or tattoos.
Make sure that they're above board with everything.
Yeah, because that kind of stuff, that's long-term commitment when you...
Yes. You can't get rid of some of those things that you get.
No.
Yes.
And so, you have a website?
Well, actually, I don't have a website. I'm on Facebook.
Well, that's good
and
enough
on
for
Instagram.
me.
Instagram is Shelayne.Anipeg Tattoo.
And Shelayne has an interesting spelling. It's Shelayne. Shelayne. It's a beautiful name. Is that your given name?
Yes, that's my given name.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
This has been, I've learned so much.
This has been so much fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. And you know what? I was talking about you coming on to the morning show with Lou and Ann and I sometime, just doing a brief rundown about the safety and stuff like that. So
anything you want to
I'm going to invite you back again.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And tune in again for On Point. You never know what we're going to be talking about. Today it's tattoos, and tomorrow it could be puppies. Okay. Or puppies with tattoos. Hey, dogs get tattoos.
Oh.
Okay.
Those aren't the puppies I was thinking of. Oh, my bad.
All right. Thanks for joining us, On Point. We'll see you next time. I'm Tim Murphy. This is ONNtv. Bye for now.